Welcome to Mallett and Michelle on Dripping Springs, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallett, who still participates in the big boy tuck.
The big boy tuck?
You don't know what the big boy tuck is?
I don't know what the big boy tuck is.
You still tuck your shirt into your pants. You like the big boy tuck.
I do that. That's professional.
That's the big boy tuck.
That's because I work in a professional job.
Well, that's right. Well,
I wore my shirt out one day last week when you weren't at work.
But because I wasn't here. But do you do it with shorts? Do you tuck your shirt in with shorts and like athletic?
It depends, Michelle.
Big boy tuck.
It depends. And Michelle Lewis, who can't handle her caffeine and should be avoided at all costs if seen leaving a Starbucks.
Oh, if I'm leaving a Starbucks, I got a project in mind and I'm going to tuck your ear off more.
All of the troubled times you and I have ever had have come from a direct result of caffeine.
Me drinking.
Yes.
It's like a dangerous
If you come
drug.
in my office and shut the door and sit down in the chair, I'm like, oh crap, she had a coffee.
Do you remember that place that was, what was the place called? The trailer place? The job, what was that place called?
Down there by Nutty Brown?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Jolt.
Yeah, I remember the day we had Jolt coffee and both you and I were.
That was a rough day. What do you got? You had something you wanted to talk about.
Well, I've been seeing a lot trending right now, Pray for Texas, and I don't think a lot of people understand what that is and what's going on down here in Texas. And I just kind of wanted to let some of the newbies know, and maybe some of the oldies also, but we are in fire season in Texas. And fire season right now is mid-February through mid-April. And right now we have a couple of fires that are raging. One right now in Blanco.
Mm-hmm.
In Blanco, and Ranger, Texas, or Ranger County, which is Eastland County,
mm-hmm.
which encompasses Ranger. But actually the Ranger fire and the Eastland County fire are unrelated. The Ranger fire destroyed a 100-year-old church and the police department down there in Ranger, Texas. And that was arson. But the Eastland County fire, so far, Eastland County is about southeast of Abilene, about 85 miles west of Fort Worth. Over 54,000 acres have burned so far. Right now, it's rivaling the 2011 Bastrop fires that happened.
Really?
32,000 acres burned. Over 1,600 fires or homes were lost in the fire. And to date, it was the most destructive fire in Texas history. And I think monetarily wise, not necessarily acreage wise. But, I just kind of wanted to give a shout out a little bit to all of our volunteer fire departments.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, you live in rural areas, and a lot of your fire departments are volunteer.
That's right.
So, and even if they're not, but please support them as much as you can. I have a good friend of mine who volunteers in Bastrop County and Heart of the Pines, and I know Blanco County has a volunteer fire department. So along with what they're dubbing the Blowing Basin Fire in Texas, support your volunteer fire department.
Yeah,
and,
always need to support the fire department, even when we're not having tough times like that. But
well, yeah, and I think what people don't understand, and maybe at some point we can get somebody that's a little bit more knowledgeable than I am on this subject, but how do you protect your property? And you need to kind of clear out that dead brush surrounding. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like what are some ideas
well, when I moved here from California, I guess this would have been like the early 90s. There was like a shift in people used to just build their houses with whatever they wanted to in California. There were even these shake shingle roofs, which were pieces of, I think it was cedar, but they're cut and kind of rough cedar, and they're just put on the roof like shingles. And those things go up like a bomb when there's a spark on there. But there were millions of houses built with those roofs in there in California. So, roof coverings are important, which we don't have as much of a problem here, but clearing the brush away from your property lines is big. Like a lot of people that maybe only mow just a little bit around their house. Maybe this time of year you want to mow back, 100 feet instead of just 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping the grass watered so it stays green and won't burn and things like that. But it's just a mind shift thing into, what you can do to prevent the fires when they do get close, burning your house, prevent it from burning your house down when they do get close to your property. So,
well, like I said, just again, support your volunteer fire departments out there.
Yep. So I had, hard to jump from that into this, but weird Texas laws.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do any research on that?
I'm not going to lie. I did at the beginning and it's been a long weekend. So no.
This is, I've got, I think I got about 10 of them, but I'm just going to cover the highlights. But every state has some weird laws, but Texas has a few that are pretty darn weird.
Is one of them don't give Michelle caffeine?
Yes, that is. That was just passed. Signed. Everybody signed that one. It's illegal to sell one's eye. You can't sell your eye.
But you have two of them.
Well, yeah. So that would be my argument.
Where's the market for an eyeball?
I don't know. You can't sell it, though.
Okay.
It's illegal to take more than 3 sips of beer at a time while standing in Texas.
Well, it's spring break, so I think that.
So you can take 2 sips and then lay down and take a sip and then stand up and you're good. It's illegal in Texas to shoot a buffalo from the second story of a hotel.
Oh, from a hotel.
I was reading that one. I was like, okay, what was the situation that some politician thought, I need to pass a law about that? That guy shot my buffalo.
From the second story
of Holiday Inn Express. Story, yeah. Holiday Inn Express. This one's interesting to me, and I don't actually know anybody that's done this, but I believe there are people that have broken this one. One could be charged with a felony for either promoting the use of or owning more than 6 female pleasure devices.
I'm going to add no comment on that
one. What I was going to say, though, I think there were parties for that at one time.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a multi-level kind of thing?
Yeah, some lady at my church had one of the parties, and that was the most probably disturbing Jesus party I've ever been to, when these apparatuses were laid across the sweet coffee table. And
yeah, no, that's not good.
So I want to know,
think she broke the law.
On your list right there, is it illegal to drive with the dome light on in your car? Because I used to tell my kids
that was not on here, but I think it should be.
And also, is it illegal to drive without shoes on? Because I used to say that one too.
I think that's in every state. That's a law.
Because coming from the beach, I used to do that all the time, and I got stopped.
But I think the idea is like if you have to get out of your car real quick and there's broken glass all over. Or
what
something.
do you Die Hard? You're like Bruce Willis getting out of your car and there's broken glass. Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
This one's funny. The state of Texas has a blanket ban on the Encyclopedia Britannica because it contains a home brewing recipe. Make your own beer.
So you could,
it's illegal to own Encyclopedia Britannica in Texas.
I bet you go to the thrift store down here.
I'm not saying they're not here. I'm just saying that's illegal. It's illegal to milk another person's cow in Texas.
But can you milk other things?
I guess so. In Clarendon, it is illegal to dust any public building with a feather duster. These laws came about from some situation, and I just was there some guy in the past going around with a feather duster like, we need to outlaw that?
I think this is very appropriate considering who our guest is on. So this is going to be probably our most explicit.
True. Yeah, Brent Gibbs is coming on here in a little bit.
Hey, Frickle, we're going to put the explicit mark on this one.
Be prepared. In Mesquite, children are not allowed to have unusual haircuts.
Oh, unusual. That's very subjective.
Yeah, it is. That would not be a law in Austin, would it? Temple still has laws in place that allow for cattle thieves to be hanged and allowing for people to ride their horses into a saloon.
What did I just read today? That they're going to bring back public execution or something?
Public execution?
Yeah, I saw that. What did I just read something.
Freaking scary. Here's one last one. You can be legally married in the state of Texas by publicly introducing a person as your husband or wife on 3 or more separate occasions.
Oh.
How wild is that?
Oh.
So if you're playing a game and you introduce this person as your spouse 3 times in a row, you could be legally married.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it says. It's from an attorney's website. It must be true.
Well, see, look, South Carolina can now carry out firing squad.
That's from 2 days ago on CNN. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I read that. I was like, oh, that's
You
wild.
must have to request it.
Well, like, would you request it?
Well, I mean, if you got the death penalty,
I don't know. Yeah, that's just okay.
Executing on death row.
There are currently no scheduled executions in South Carolina, but they have been paused until the state was able to accommodate the firing squad option.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think we're going backwards a little bit in this world.
Yes, we are.
A little bit.
I have a kind of a real estate thing. Do you remember you're a huge Yellowstone fan, aren't you?
I'm going to back off from that word a little bit because
I'm a huge
I'm not a huge fan. Like the character Beth annoys the shiitake mushrooms out of me. Like seriously, she annoys me.
She's one of my favorite characters.
Well, only because she's like really cute, but I think I don't know. And Rip isn't my favorite character. Like Kevin Costner's my favorite character, but he's kind of
that's funny.
Jerk.
I don't like Kevin Costner.
He's a horrible father. I mean, you look, they're just horrible people all along. Yeah. But I watched the show and I only watched the first 3 episodes, I think, of 1883 because which is the offshoot of Yellowstone, because I didn't want to pay for another friggin' subscription to something.
Well, do you remember, I think it was season 4 when Jimmy they get sent down to Texas and he goes to the ranch. I think they called it the Sixes, right?
The 4 Sixes
the
ranch.
4 Sixes ranch. Well, that's an actual ranch.
It is. I know you can drive by it. They have a gift shop now.
Yeah.
I just saw that on TikTok.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I just saw it on TikTok because it must be true.
Well, that ranch, it just sold. It's
again?
It's been in this family for a long time. It's 266,000 acres.
Well, okay. I heard that Taylor Sheridan, the creator of Yellowstone, was one of the buyers along.
Well, he might have been.
Yeah.
It's undisclosed who the buyers are, but it was listed in 2020 for $341 million.
Oh, I can write him a check right now.
Yeah. It'll bounce, but we can write one. And it was owned by, what's her name? Oh, there you go. Yellowstone creator reportedly bought the legendary 4 Sixes ranch used for filming. Oh, it was a beautiful place. Marion... What's her name? She owned it. She recently died. Anne Marion was the owner, and they put it up for sale. And
Anne Marion, he died in 2020, and the original Samuel Burke Burnett in 1870.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
When he passed it down to his family. So apparently whoever bought it is going to keep it intact. So maybe...
Well, think about it this way. Think how smart it is for Taylor Sheridan to buy this. So now he's bought it, right? And he's going to film on it. So he's essentially leasing his own ranch to his film company. He's smart guy.
He's the guy that plays the
horse like
the trainer from the 4 Sixes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy, remember Jimmy, he's like the most least
cowboy ever, but then they goes to the 4 Sixes ranch and becomes a real cowboy.
But there's going to be an offshoot of the 4 Sixes ranch.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, there's going to be like 1883.
He's a very talented writer.
He's that guy that plays Jimmy. He's from New York. I was reading something.
Oh, really?
That. Yeah. So like, I don't know if you do this, but I'm really bad about when I watch a show, I sit there and I.
Yes, I knew that about you. That's actually one of my Michelle-isms that you just ruined.
Oh, sorry.
So I was going to use for the future.
Yeah, well, just dogged myself out.
Hey, so we were just talking about Rip. Would you agree Rip has sort of a dad bod?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I just came across this last week. It's interesting to me. There was who did this? Planet Fitness survey. And it's been a couple years ago now. And 61% of the people that responded to this survey said that men with dad bods are sexy.
So we kind of knew we were going to talk about dad bods a little bit, right? And so I've known about the term dad bod for a while now.
Should we tell people what that means?
Well, it became viral in 2015 when Leonardo DiCaprio was photographed by the paparazzi shirtless on the beach, much like your pool picture.
Oh, stop it. You
where
can't see me. You can't see that. I'm in the water.
Your nipples are just floating right above the surface
Michelle.
of the water.
You can't see my dad bod.
But so some people think it's fat shaming, right? A dad bod. And the criteria for that, you have to be slightly overweight and not extremely muscular. And you think paunchy and less peckless.
That's exactly what I had too. Yeah. That it's sort of, instead of the hard chiseled look, it's sort of a softer
But
look.
you're lucky because you're not falling in the dad bod category. You know why?
Why?
Because it's generally falls between the 24 and 54 age group.
Oh, I'm too old for that.
You're a granddad bod.
I'm a granddad bod. But you know what? I think for my granddad bod, I'm not doing too bad.
No, you're not doing too bad. No.
Do you think that's, well, so 61% said that a dad bod was sexy, but 75% of singles said they're more turned on by a dad bod than by any other body type. 75% of singles are more turned on by a dad bod over any other body type.
I think maybe because it's more somebody on their level. I don't know. I mean, it sounds a little.
I do think that some people that work out so much, they have that, almost Photoshopped look, maybe can be a little bit, what's the word?
Filtered or.
Not filtered, but they're sort of into themselves too much.
Oh yeah, like a little narcissist. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel a little like, with friends, I feel it's kind of funny to talk about, but like I don't know, it's a little cringy when you talk about somebody else's body, right? Like if let's say the tables were turned and it was about a female, there's like this trend now to look at actresses now and then and they do this like age progression backwards to what they used to look like. Like the woman, I think her name is Catherine. I can't remember her name. She played Daisy Duke. I can't remember her last name. Anyways, they did this progression of what she looks like now backwards. And I just think that's just disgusting that people are doing that, because we all look different than when we did when we were 20 something. Look at Pamela Anderson now versus when Pamela Anderson was like 19 years old.
Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't shame somebody for the body that they have, but I think we also everybody should aspire to have a healthy looking body, right?
Yeah. I also think there's a fine line.
Defining what healthy is, right?
Yeah. I mean, defining what healthy is, but then are we too much normalizing overweight?
Well, now I have a problem with that. I think, everybody's beautiful, but somebody that's 350 pounds is going to have health issues that somebody that's half that weight will not have.
Yeah. I mean, look,
diabetes and heart disease 100%. And all kinds of things. And I think we're being disingenuous with people saying, oh, you're beautiful and you love yourself the way yes, you should love yourself, but you should also say, I'm probably not in the healthiest body and maybe I should do something about that.
Well, and look, my weight over the years has fluctuated definitely.
Everybody's
Whether
does.
I was on steroids, I could tell like pictures where like I was on long doses of steroids because my autoimmune and my face, I had like this moon face and I was 30 pounds heavier. And finally my doctor got medication right and I lost all this weight and then I kind of gained it all back. But now I'm 51 years old and menopause is creeping up on me. And there's things that just women have, I think, a harder time with the body dysmorphia than men do. And that's
actually not true. A lot of men have body dysmorphia.
But wait a minute. But having the dad bod that can be glamorized, like, how sexy, Leonardo DiCaprio is. Let's glamorize that, but let's shame another actress because
it happens exactly the same on the men's side of things. It's like if you go on Instagram, what's the posts that are of the men that are supposed to be so hot, they're not dad bods. There's some guy that spends 40 hours a week in the gym.
Yeah, but I think honestly, there's more pressure on women to look thinner, younger. I'm guilty of that too. I think men actually get better looking as they age.
To a point.
Well, yeah, to a point. But it's just I think there's a lot of pressure on women to look a certain way, to feel a certain way. But then at the same time, I don't want to normalize being unhealthy. If you
I think in a perfect world, we would love ourselves and be happy with ourselves, but also realize there are times where we could improve.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's okay to say, I'm a great human being and I love myself, but in this one particular thing, it doesn't even have to be physical sometimes. Sometimes it can be mental, right? It can be, I'm a great person and I love myself, but I need to be more intellectual. I need to open myself up to some things in the world that I have, whatever it is, but sometimes it can be health, because there's a lot of people out there right now, especially with, COVID really brought this out. It's like, well, you're going to die of the virus. Well, look at all these people. It was like, whatever it was, 350,000 people a year, every single year die of heart disease. But nobody's saying on the same side of, hey, you got to get your shots for COVID. Hey, you know what? You could probably lose a few pounds too, and that would make you healthier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being from the Valley, one of the leading health issues down in the Rio Grande Valley is diabetes. Mm-hmm. And think about it. Think about what is
the annual cost of taking care of people with diabetes as a country is ginormous.
Well, think about what's in the diet. The normal, look at the average diet down in the Rio Grande Valley. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of lard and bread and I know we kind of got a little off track of the Dad Bod situation and we were making light about it, but I think it is kind of funny. And speaking of Dad Bod,
oh, don't you do that to Brent? Oh, don't do that to Brent. Oh, he's gonna hate us when he listens to this one. We love you, Brent. We're gonna take a little break, and Brent Gibbs is gonna come in here. He's a Red Raider and he's a banker. He's a big, very involved in our community, and we're going to step out for a sec, get him in here, and we'll talk to you in a second.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
Mr. Gibbs, welcome to the show.
How are y'all? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Right before you came on, I said, speaking of Dad Bods, but I'm going to say that you are the opposite of a Dad Bod, and you know what that is? It's a dis bod.
A dis bod?
I don't know. I looked it up on the internet.
Well, you don't have a Dad Bod anymore, man. You're wasting away.
I'm down about 40 pounds. Yeah, working on the anti-Dad Bod.
Anti-Dad Bod. I like that. How are you doing it?
Eating a lot of red meat, Steve. I know that's not your thing, but
nothing wrong with that.
Eating meat and vegetables, walking a lot, even jogging a little bit. I'm not up to Steve Mallett jog status yet, but
you'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you're on the show, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. You just got back from skiing?
We did. We went to Angel Fire. Had a great time. My 7-year-old boy can officially out ski me now. So
no, already.
Man,
he's an athlete.
He's
isn't he?
fearless, though. Yeah. Reagan's fearless.
He wanted to go down a couple of black diamonds, and I'm like, no, and it's not because you can't. It's because I can't. So,
you might be able to ski him, but if you fall, you won't be able to get back up.
That's true.
Yeah, for like a month. It hurts.
Sonny Bono.
Yeah, that's right. Never get up. So what brought you to dripping?
Oh, about 15 years ago, I had a chance to move from the Lubbock area down here where there were some trees and stay in the banking business. And the rest is history.
Were you in the banking business in Lubbock?
I was. I was in a little town called Levelland out west of Lubbock. Mm-hmm. Prior to that, I was in a bank in Hereford, Texas, up in the Panhandle.
Hereford. Hereford's near and dear to my heart. My family had a business there, and it's my grandfather would say when we'd go there, it's that, you know what that smell is? That's the smell of money.
We've already talked about that.
Yeah, we did. That's Hereford.
That's right.
Book out in Mitchell.
We were through there this weekend, and the smell's still there.
So you, what was the bank you came to work for here in Dripping?
It was the old Cattleman's National Bank, and it's now Lone Star Capital Bank, and I worked for those guys for, 5 or 6 years, and I had a chance to open what is now South Star Bank a little over 10 years ago, and so I've been there ever since.
Have you been a banker your entire professional life?
No, sir. I I was actually an education major and started out. I was a high school ag teacher for one very, very long year. So
1 year, huh?
I have a great respect for the education business. My wife's still a teacher, and it is hands down the hardest job on the planet. So
why did you not like it?
You know what? The kids were fantastic. I loved that. I was 21 years old at the time. I didn't know how to play the political game,
and the other kids could beat you up.
And yeah, I mean they had mustaches and I didn't. It was it was just not a career fit at the time for me.
That's funny. How'd you get from an ag degree into the banking business?
Yeah, great question. I actually had a bank that called my first bank that called me. They knew I had the ag background, and it was obviously in Hereford, Texas. That smell of money is the cattle business, and so I started my entry level position. I was inspecting cattle, crops, doing equipment evaluations, et cetera. It was all ag based, and before I moved into the lending position, that's what I did. And we had a guy that left, and I assumed his loan portfolio and just sort of learned the business from the ground up.
Wow. And you've enjoyed it ever since, for the most part?
For the most part, yeah. I couldn't imagine myself at that time, moving to the city and making home loans. And now I'm in the city making home loans. And,
yeah. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a little town called Robert Lee outside of San Angelo. So,
is it still called Robert E. Lee, or are they going to have to change the name?
They have not changed the name of the town. It's still Robert Lee. So
Robert Lee. They dropped the E.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Still after the Confederate general, just no E.
They're coming for you.
They're
going to change the name. And so where'd you go when you left there?
Yeah, I went to school at Texas Tech.
Was it Guns Up?
Oh yeah, Guns Up.
What's their little slogan thing? Is it?
Come on, Steve. You had a son go to Tech.
Steve.
You know this.
I don't. I didn't get into the culture, man. I was waiting for you to do it. That was your opening line there, Brent.
Yeah, I had a great time up there. My wife's also a Tech grad. We did not meet at Tech, however.
You met her in the halls at the high school that you worked at?
I knew that was coming. She could have been one of my students, actually. So, yes,
your smoking hot wife?
I totally outkicked my coverage.
I actually wrote that down. Outkicked your coverage there, bud.
Yep, absolutely. That's really why I'm losing weight. I'm just trying to keep up with her. She's a smoke show.
That's smart. You got to do that, man. Good for you.
What about the time that you spent being a rodeo clown? I would like to know about that.
Well, I was not a clown.
Wait.
I'm a clown in real life now. No, I rode bulls. I was on the Texas Tech Rodeo team, and I never rodeoed as a kid. Just got to Tech, and the culture was there. I had a chance to start. I was a high school athlete, and so it just kind of transitioned into a new sport.
That's a wild transition, Brent. Like what sports did you play growing up?
I played football, so it's you're getting beat up either way. So
yeah.
I mean, riding a bull is a little bit different. I mean, I just left the Houston Rodeo.
A bull is the size of like 5 offensive linemen, right? I mean, they're huge.
Yeah, and I was probably 150 pounds soaking wet then, but which is ironically the ideal size to ride bulls.
Why is that?
Just center of gravity and easy to move, and you stay on top of them. They're not dangerous. It's when you fall underneath them that.
Did you ever fall underneath them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So you get up there, there's like 4 guys standing around you when you're getting on a bull, right? There's like somebody helping you get situated, and there's a guy looking to make sure everything's safe. And what's going through your head when you're sitting on a bull?
Don't die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a lot of years, so I haven't had this question.
Sure you can't forget.
I mean, your adrenaline's pumping, and you're thinking about, hey, I want to stay in the middle. I'm in the middle of him right now while I'm in the chute. Can I stay in the middle of him, move for move, out in the arena? And the thing is, some bulls have tendencies this guy's going to go left,
Right.
or this one's going to go right, or this one's just going to buck real hard and then go, whatever. You've seen them before.
They have patterns.
They have patterns, and but that's not all. That doesn't always hold true. Sometimes they'll surprise you, and you're anticipating a move, and they go the other way, and you get thumped. So
I think I know the answer to this, but what causes the bulls to buck?
Well, they're natural athletes. They're bred to do that. There's genetics over there. I mean, you just watched the rodeo in Houston, and so I can assure you those bulls were better than the ones we rode 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's but they're bred to do that. But
there's rope, right?
There is a what's called a flank rope that they tie up, and it's
like a fajita rope.
It's more of a. It doesn't make them buck. It's more of a safety belt. It's like a weight
for them or for you.
For them, it's like a weightlifter that puts on a belt to do some squats or deadlifts.
And that's what they release when the rider falls off, right? A lot of times they'll.
Right. They'll pop that rope off. So it's like a belt.
Huh.
I'm practically a bull riding expert because I've been to the rodeo 3 times in 2 weeks. So.
You don't go for the rodeo. You go for the music.
I go for the Wrangler.
Truth.
I go and the music. The cowboys and the Wrangler jeans.
What was the worst injury you ever had riding a bull?
Surprisingly, I mean, I got stepped on and couldn't walk for a few days, but not. I never had a severe. I didn't have broken ribs. I didn't have
really.
He wasn't Jimmy.
Yeah.
Well, and you got to remember this was pre-vest, pre-helmet. They all have the protective vests and protective helmets on now. We didn't have any of that.
You just had a cowboy hat and jeans and a shirt.
That was it.
So what if your kiddo woke up one day and said, "Daddy, that's what I want to do"?
Yeah, we're trying to keep that past from him. We're like in baseball and basketball and these non-contact sports. Mama would not.
Are you not
approve?
You're not going to encourage him to play football?
You know what? He played flag football this early spring and loved it. So, is that the gateway drug to real football? I don't know. I kind of hope not, but
yeah. Well, he's such a great athlete in baseball and basketball, right?
Yeah. Let's stick with the skill sports. He's not going to be a sizable dude. These kids now, if you ever watch them walk out of the tunnel at Drip, they're all huge and
amazing, huh?
They're milk drinkers.
They are drinking their milk and eating their vegetables, no doubt.
So you are also involved with the Texas Tech Alumni Association here in Dripping Springs, right? A chapter that's here in Drip.
That's right. A few years ago, we started a chapter. Myself, Mike Coble, Jeff Foreman. We were all watching a game at my house, and the Austin has had a chapter for years,
and the committee was formed.
That's pretty much it. The field rep from Lubbock came down. We had about 40 people at our house, and I was elected president. And we started having a fundraiser annually right before dove season. We have a sporting clay shoot out at Hog Heaven. Hank Seal allows us to use that facility, and he's also a Tech grad. And we raised. Last year we raised about $30,000. And
wow!
That blows my mind that you guys raised that much money so quickly. That's a lot of cash.
We'll give that all away to kids going to Tech from Dripping Springs.
That scholarship money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, Tech has really become one of the places to go for kids drip. I mean, a lot of the dripping kids are going to Tech.
Why did you end up going there?
They accepted them.
The options were slim for me at the time, Steve.
Del Mar or Del Mar College.
It's funny you said that. The very first year I moved here, they had a university day at the high school, and I manned the Texas Tech booth, and I remember a kid coming up and asking what the admission requirements were, and I pulled out the pamphlet, and I'm trying to go through it, and it was right then I realized I could no longer get into my own alma mater. It's tough.
Yeah.
I grew up in that part of the country.
Yeah.
And always liked the Red Raiders, and I was going to be an ag major. It's a big ag school, so that's
interesting.
I hear also that you have other talents that are kind of well known throughout the local community.
Somebody that we know that knows you sent us some information on you.
Sent us some really good information.
Oh yeah.
It looks like
you can't hear it.
You can't hear it, but it's.
So I'll narrate.
It's like Beyonce.
It's a dance video in the lobby of the bank. That's Larry, right?
That's Larry. We mimicked him in our Halloween costume.
But man, Brent, you were going for it. Look at that. There's no holding back there.
Hey, you know what? I practice in the mirror a lot to get that look. So.
Is this what you do every morning? You get ready to go to work?
I can't believe. What was that for? Like some kind of contest?
It was Halloween. Yeah. We
He's got the robot move.
It kind of looks like all a single ladies video.
You could probably put any kind of music to that you want. That's just one of my.
That's
few
classified, though. I can't tell you who sent that to me.
Yeah, we might need to post that on Facebook.
Just that one little robot move that he was doing.
Yeah. So now are you VP over there at the? What's your position at the bank?
I am Executive Vice President, Chief Lending Officer.
Okay.
So I run the lending operation for the entire bank. 16 locations.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. And what do you like about being in the banking business?
Good question. I've always enjoyed lending. I've enjoyed selling. I've enjoyed helping people get what they want. And
you are a hell of a salesman. You are tenacious and you're committed. And when you were doing actual loans, you're one of the best I ever worked with.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, now then they moved you up, right? They take you out of that and put you in charge of everybody else.
Yeah, and I still get to, do some boots on the ground stuff. I still get to work with my lenders, go on calls and meet people, and frankly, that's the fun of the business. Management sucks.
I was just going to ask you what you didn't like about the banking biz. It's probably that, right? It's managing people.
Yeah, I mean, and we've got really good people, which makes it awesome. And I've got a great executive team that I work with, and my boss is awesome, and our owner's awesome. So it's I feel really blessed.
What kind of challenges right now are you seeing in the banking industry? I mean, mortgage-wise, you guys are slammed, right?
Yeah,
Refi.
We're slammed, but we're facing the same thing you guys are facing with the inventory. There are deals, but I don't want to say not enough deals, but there's always challenges there. You feast or famine, and the rates are on the move up, and anybody under 30 is all of a sudden shocked that a mortgage rate could be in the mid 4s.
I know.
And, that's...
I was just having this discussion with my son.
Do you remember what the interest rate was on your first home?
I think it was 9 or 10%.
Yeah. I think mine was 8.5%, and I thought I'd hit a gold mine. It was that was cheap back then. So yeah.
No, it was a 1,700 square foot house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And I paid $53,000 for it too. So
was that in Lubbock?
It was in Hereford.
Hereford, yeah. Times have changed. Do you think that interest rates are going to keep going up?
I do. The mortgage side is going to be affected by the bond market, but the Fed has basically said the next 6 meetings of the year they're going to raise rates, and so they just raised them a quarter point in March, and so 6 more, prime's at 3.5 today. So if they do it 6 more times, we're looking at prime rate of 5 by the end of the year. Wow. So that's assuming only 25 basis point bumps.
And they're doing that. The primary reason for that is because they're trying to battle inflation.
I don't really have an opinion on that other than rates have probably been too cheap for too long.
Do you not have an opinion or not one you want to share?
Well, no, it's, there's other things affecting inflation and the cost of the goods we're buying. You want me to get political? You want me to talk pipelines? You want me to?
Well, you talk whatever you want to talk about. I do think it's funny that the government pumped trillions of dollars into our economy, which basically cheapens our money. And then, which is what inflation is, right?
Sure.
It makes your money worth less. And now the government's saying, "Oh, we got to raise interest rates." It's like they created the problem, and now they're trying to fix it by making people pay more for loans.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You know, the dollar buys less, and then things cost more, and so.
Yeah, it really is. And that was one of the things I was going to ask you about. You know, banks are always encouraging people to save money, put money in the bank, which you guys have to have deposits to write loans, right?
Sure.
And I can't remember what it's called, but there's like, if I deposit $100, you guys can write like $1,000 worth of loan, $1,000 worth of loan, right? Can't you?
Yeah, it's and you know, we have what we call a loan deposit ratio, and so we'll look at our. You know, if you have, you know, this much in deposits, X number of deposits, you can loan up to a percentage of that. And we've actually been over that before. We've been over 100% loan to deposit before. And we've utilized federal home loan borrowings, which we collateralize with our mortgage loans to borrow. We have no borrowings right now. And most banks are in that same position, most community banks, I would say, because ironically, through all of the, you know, the past couple years of pandemic and PPP and deposit rates have skyrocketed, and so our deposit are up. Yeah,
which is wild because if you're sitting on quite a bit of cash, it's just going down and. Not only are you not making any interest on it in the bank anymore, really, right? Like, you know, what do you get, 1% maybe? It's actually going down in value, right?
Yes, with I mean what we just talked about. So,
right. So people don't think about it that way, though. They think, well, I've got $25,000, got my emergency fund in the bank. I'm good. I did what Forbes told me to do. I got my little 6-month emergency plan, but it's worth less and less every single day. So,
sure. Of course, you know, Steve Mallett world, you need to leverage every dollar and go out and...
Well, that's what actually, it's been a little bit harder to do that, though. That was kind of what I was getting to is, you know, there's a lot of people with money in the bank, but it's hard to find opportunities and places to put that money where you can leverage it to let it grow.
You could just give it to me. Just give it to me, Steve.
Is it a Louis Vuitton purse?
No, it's Krispy Kreme donut.
Krispy Kreme donut. But I know you probably work with some people and they're finding opportunities out there. What are you seeing people put their money into that is actually paying off, besides obviously real estate like us? But
you know, there are deals still to be had out there, and I think there are deals in any market. Buying opportunities is what I mean by deals, and you know, there's still you still see the ads nailed to the telephone pole on the corner. We buy ugly homes, and there's a market for that, and you know, who the ultimate end buyer of that, you know, those guys will buy a home, they'll remarket it to somebody that's a flipper, and they'll come in and have to put some rehab money in it, either sell it or keep it in their rental portfolio. Right. It may or may not work, because you're still paying a premium for stuff right now, and you know, we've counted on appreciation for so long. And
I know,
and it's like, when's it going to stop? And it hadn't stopped yet.
Well, you've got to expand your circle too. Just don't look as locally.
There's that. I saw an article yesterday that said there's a 0% chance that home prices in Austin will go down by more than 5% in the next 2 years. I
believe it.
So investing in real estate's a good idea.
Well, in 2008, we got flat in Austin. We didn't go backwards. There are parts of the country that are still recovering.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, I think most of them have recovered completely now, but still, it's
What I want to know are, what are the advantages of using a community bank versus a larger kind of, name brand bank?
Good question. Knowing who you're dealing with, most of our bankers, their clients are going to have their cell phone number. If they want to call them on a Saturday and get a question answered or get a pre-qual letter over the weekend, things like that. It's meaningful.
It's a personal relationship.
Try getting that out of a big box bank.
Like Chase Bank. Yeah, you call them on the weekend. Good luck.
You call them during the week. Good luck.
It's true. It's really true. I got a kind of a random question here for you. Now you're this kind of very visible banker here in the community. You're real involved in the community. What could you, if you could go back and talk to your 20-year-old self back when you were just getting into tech, what would you tell yourself with everything you know now?
My career path's been a little bit unorthodox, but I would have probably been a finance major or a business major. Would have probably focused a little bit more on that, assuming I had a crystal ball to kind of see where this was going. But what
would you do differently?
I don't know that I would do a whole lot differently. I enjoy the career that I've ended up with, and I feel like that's what I was supposed to do. But I tried a couple of things that I can now look back on and go, that's the hardest job on the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
I would think that would have been the bull riding part, but that's just me.
I would like to know also, along with that questioning, is what is the one thing that you find you're super passionate about?
I like selling. I like making deals. Steve and I've had lunch before, and I've joked that, man, I would love to be doing what you're doing. I've also thought I would enjoy selling cars. It's just, you just
like selling. You like the thrill of the deal, right?
And we've all been to restaurants where the service is poor, or they're not very conversational, and I'm thinking, man, how hard could this be to just be pleasant, pay attention to people, and that's selling.
Yeah, that's how I ended up in real estate. When I sold my house in California, they did such a crappy job. I thought I could do that way better than that, and I thought I'll just get my real estate license, and then here 20 years later, here I am. So. It
sounds like you've had just such a great Texas story, from the little country boy in East Texas, right? Is it East Texas, Central Texas? Where'd you grow up? San Angelo, West Texas. I don't freaking know. Never eat soggy.
Never eat shredded wheat.
Never eat soggy waffles.
Oh, whatever.
I'll show you a map here in a minute.
Thank you. Is there math on there? Who was the most influential person in your life?
Probably my dad. My dad was a former military guy. He, but also his professional career, he got in the school business, and he was a school superintendent, and very methodical. We're not the same person. I'm my dad in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways I'm not. He didn't have my personality. He did not like social events. He did not like talking to people. But he was very organized, very methodical, had his way of doing things, and just a very thrifty and awesome guy.
Yeah, so. Is he still around?
No, he passed away about 10 years ago.
Oh.
So.
And now it cracks me up because you're this former bull rider banker, and now you play golf pretty regularly, which
rodeo clown.
Yeah, rodeo clown. I've never understood how. And you're into it too. You're into golf, right?
I like to play golf. I haven't played near as much as I would like to, and I've never gotten really good. I'm an average hacker, and it's fun. Got some good buddies that I play with.
Steve could take you out and show you how to polish some balls, because that's all he knows how to do in golfing.
What?
Are you gonna edit? You gonna edit that out?
I'm gonna.
Didn't you work at a golf course and you polished balls?
Yeah, but I didn't polish anybody's balls.
I didn't say anybody's balls. I said balls.
That was my worst job. Was I worked on a golf course mowing the fairways and the greens
and polishing balls.
Yes, I did not do that.
It's a California thing.
Yeah. If you ever go out and play golf, all that pretty grass out there, somebody's taking care of it, and it was me for a while, and I did not like it.
And this weekend, Steve has tennis elbow from doing 10 minutes of yard work. right?
It's hard, Steve. It's a
you
hard
know
life.
what? Getting old sucks. We had a raised bed garden, and I had to take it down, and so there was some dirt there, and I had to move it, and I shoveled for 10 minutes, and now I can't move my left elbow.
Little red meat will help with it, Steve.
I guess so. And I go to the gym and everything. And I was like, what the hell? What else do you do in your spare time that you like to do?
You know, I've got a 7-year-old boy that I chase him around, and he is into anything sports. Like I said, plays basketball, plays baseball, plays soccer, plays football. Cannot ride a bike though. He cannot ride a bike, and he doesn't want to learn. He has a bike, but he sees no purpose to it.
What do you think's going on there?
You don't keep score. There's not a ball. There's no competition. We're not in a neighborhood where other kids ride their bikes, and so it's not a thing.
Do you have a bike?
I do.
Well, then you should say, come on, Reagan, I'll race you.
You know what? That's a great idea.
I'll race you down to the end of the driveway.
I've got to turn it into a competition.
Yeah, he'll be all over it. Oh. We saw something on Facebook. How old were you when you cut your hair with grass clippers?
Oh, gosh. That was like I was in the first grade. That was literally the day before school pictures. My mom was livid.
You just got some grass clippers out of the... What were you thinking?
No, we were out gardening or whatever, and I just grabbed them and chopped. Yep,
Jeez,
took a big chunk out of the front of my head.
Wow. No, I guess I have some stories like that too. We'll get to one day. Was there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to discuss?
You know what? I'm just kind of letting you guys drive the show, so I always love visiting with y'all.
Yeah, I like when you were talking about how you're social. Whenever there's an event here, especially for people in the real estate business, you always show up and you're ready to go. You're not there just like checking off the box. You know, you get around, meet everybody, and talk and catch up. And I think that's a good thing.
And Founders Day is coming up.
It's coming up. You know, and dripping has changed a lot. I've always loved that. You know, you were one of the first guys I met when I came to town 15 years ago, and you know, a title company rep gave me a short list of the go-to people you need to go have lunch with your first week or two here, and you were one of those guys. And you know, but it's changed to an extent. I used to go to chamber meetings and would know everybody there, and now there's always new members, and the town's evolving, and that's great. I mean, it's fueling what you do and what I do, but it's hard to know everybody like we used to.
I say that all the time. When you go out to eat, remember you'd go out to eat and you'd walk in a restaurant and you'd see 10 people you knew. Hey, Bob. Hey, Sally. You know, and then just like it. You know, now you go in, you're like, I don't recognize a single person. There's 50 people in here. I don't know a single soul.
Well, now we have the podcast too. We can kind of dive deeper into the people that we really want to, we care about in the community and get to know. And
well, I really enjoyed catching up with you here, Brent. You were, I really was wanting to hear about the bull riding. You and I have talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to get into it.
And we didn't make fun of Steve as near enough as we
made a couple of red meat jokes, but outside of that, I will tell one story on Steve, and this is one of my favorites. You know, we've been very supportive of DS Elite and since the formation, and continue to be an advertiser and a sponsor. And we sponsored lunch here one day, and it was actually in the room next door. And you know, we brought in Salt Lick, and I mean, we loaded it up. We had brisket, and we had ribs, and we had all the fixings, and we had sausage. And anyway, folks are going through the line, and Steve comes in and he said, "Y'all don't have any turkey?" And I said, "No, Steve, but look at all this stuff we've got." And he looked at me and he goes, "I guess I'll just have a banana."
That's a true story, though, too. Yeah, I remember that. I was like, "There's nothing here for me to eat. I'll have a pickle and a piece of bread, I guess."
Pickle and a banana.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in, Brent. We've really enjoyed catching up with you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
Thanks for listening.
If you have comments or feedback, please email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Mallett and Michelle.
Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Please follow us and leave a review.
Thanks again for listening.